Most Toyota drivers see a warning light on the dashboard and do one of two things. They either panic and rush to the dealer, or they ignore it completely and keep driving like nothing happened. Both reactions are wrong, and both cost money. Toyota's dashboard is not decoration. It is a real-time diagnostic system that monitors dozens of sensors across the engine, brakes, tires, airbags, and emission systems. Every light has a specific meaning, a specific color, and a specific level of urgency. Toyota uses a color-coded system designed to communicate exactly how serious the problem is. Green and blue lights simply confirm a system is active. Yellow lights warn that something needs attention soon. Red lights mean stop the car and deal with it immediately. The problem is, most Toyota owners never learn what these lights actually mean. They glance at the dashboard, see something glowing, and either Google it days later or slap a piece of tape over it. That is how a $200 fix turns into a $4,000 engine replacement. After years of working on Toyotas, I have watched the same patterns repeat. Drivers ignore the same lights, make the same assumptions, and end up with the same preventable failures. These are the 7 dashboard warnings Toyota owners ignore most often, and why each one matters far more than you think. Warning number 1. The check engine light, steady versus flashing. The check engine light is the most misunderstood warning on any Toyota dashboard. Most drivers assume it means the engine is about to explode, so they either panic or decide the light is just being dramatic. Neither response is correct. A steady check engine light means Toyota's onboard diagnostic system, OBD2, has detected a fault somewhere in the engine, emissions, or sensor network. It could be something as simple as a loose gas cap letting fuel vapors escape, or it could point to a failing oxygen sensor, a worn mass airflow sensor, or early catalytic converter trouble. A steady light does not mean pull over immediately, but it absolutely means get the car scanned soon. The real danger is a flashing check engine light. A flashing light on a Toyota means the engine is actively misfiring and unburned fuel is being dumped directly into the exhaust system. That unburned fuel superheats the catalytic converter, and catalytic converter damage on a Toyota can easily cost over $1,000 to repair. Worn spark plugs and failing ignition coils are the most common causes of a flashing check engine light, and both are relatively inexpensive to fix when caught early. Toyota recommends replacing spark plugs between 60,000 and 120,000 miles, depending on the model and plug type. The problem is that most drivers treat a flashing light the same way they treat a steady one. They keep driving, assume the car is fine because it still runs, and within weeks they have melted a catalytic converter that was perfectly healthy before the misfire started. If your check engine light is flashing, reduce speed immediately, avoid hard acceleration, and get the car to a shop before that cheap spark plug replacement turns into a major exhaust system repair. Warning number 2. The tire pressure monitoring system light. The tire pressure warning light is a small horseshoe-shaped icon with an exclamation mark in the center. When it turns on and stays solid, it means one or more tires have dropped below the recommended inflation pressure, typically around 25% below the manufacturer's specification. On most Toyota models, that threshold sits around 5 to 7 pounds per square inch below the recommended level, which is printed on a sticker inside the driver's side door frame. Most drivers glance at the tires, decide they look fine, and keep driving. That decision is far more dangerous than it sounds. An underinflated tire flexes more than it should during driving. That extra flex generates heat, and heat is what destroys tires from the inside out. Over time, Underinflation causes uneven tread wear, increases rolling resistance which kills fuel economy, and dramatically raises the risk of a blowout at highway speeds. Tires inflated below 20 pounds per square inch are at serious risk of sudden failure, especially under heavy loads or sustained high-speed driving. Toyota includes this system to give drivers time to correct the problem before it becomes a safety emergency. Ignoring it removes that safety margin entirely. There is also a second behavior many owners miss. If the tire pressure light flashes for about 60 to 90 seconds and then stays solid, it is not warning about low pressure at all. It is telling you the tire pressure monitoring system itself has malfunctioned, usually due to a dead sensor battery or a sensor that failed during a tire change. When the system is down, you lose the ability to detect a slow leak or a sudden pressure drop while driving. That means you are flying blind on one of the most basic safety systems in the car. Either way, this light deserves attention, not assumptions. Warning number 3, the oil pressure warning light. This is the one light on a Toyota dashboard that demands you stop immediately. The oil pressure warning light looks like a small oil can, and when it turns on, it means oil pressure inside the engine has dropped to a critically low level. This is not a reminder to change your oil. This is your engine telling you it is running out of protection right now. Oil pressure is what keeps metal components separated inside the engine. The crankshaft bearings, the camshaft journals, the timing chain tensioners, and the piston skirts all depend on a constant film of pressurized oil to survive. When that pressure drops, metal touches metal. At highway speed, rod bearings can be destroyed in minutes. Pressure matters. Toyota's oil pressure warning light is designed as a last resort, not an early warning. By the time the light turns on, the engine is already in a dangerous state. Healthy Toyota engines maintain steady oil pressure during both idle and acceleration. A sudden drop usually points to low oil level, the wrong viscosity being used, a collapsing oil filter, or early oil pump wear. Continuing to drive with this light on, even for a few miles, can cause damage that totals the engine. A $7 quart of oil or a $12 filter could have prevented a $6,000 engine replacement. If this light comes on while driving, pull over safely, shut off the engine, and do not restart it until the cause has been identified. If you made it this far, then consider liking this video, giving it a thumbs up, and subscribing to my channel. This helps me bring you more honest car advice. Warning number 4, the brake system warning light. The brake system warning light is a red icon that looks like a circle with parentheses around it, and sometimes an exclamation mark appears beside it. Many Toyota owners see this light and immediately assume they left the parking brake on. If the light turns off after fully releasing the parking brake, the system is working normally. But if the light stays on with the parking brake fully released, the situation changes completely. A persistent brake warning light typically means brake fluid has dropped below the minimum level in the master cylinder reservoir under the hood on the driver's side of the engine bay. Brake fluid does not evaporate. If the level is low, it means either the brake pads have worn down enough to displace more fluid into the calipers, or there is a leak somewhere in the hydraulic brake system. Both situations compromise braking performance. Worn pads reduce stopping power gradually, which many drivers never notice because the change happens slowly over thousands of miles. A hydraulic leak is far more urgent because it can cause a sudden and dramatic loss of braking ability with no additional warning. Toyota designed this light to catch both problems before they become emergencies. Drivers who ignore it are gambling with the one system in the car that matters most in a crisis. brake fluid condition also matters. Over time, brake fluid absorbs moisture from the atmosphere. That moisture lowers the fluid's boiling point, and under hard braking overheated fluid can boil and create air pockets in the lines. Air compresses where fluid does not, and the result is a soft, spongy pedal that travels farther before engaging the brakes. Toyota recommends you replace brake fluid at regular intervals, yet most owners never do it because no dashboard light specifically warns about fluid age. When the brake warning light comes on, treat it as a red level alert. Check the parking brake first, then check the fluid level, and if neither explains the light, get the car inspected before driving any further. Warning number 5 is the battery and charging system warning light. This light looks like a small battery icon with a positive and negative symbol. When it turns on while the engine is running, it does not necessarily mean the battery itself is dead. It means the charging system has stopped working properly, and the car is now running on stored battery power alone. Toyota vehicles use an alternator mounted on the front of the engine and driven by the serpentine belt to generate electrical power while the engine runs. The alternator charges the battery and powers every electrical system in the car, from the headlights and fuel injectors to the engine control unit itself. When the alternator fails or the serpentine belt breaks, the battery takes over. But a car battery was never designed to run the entire vehicle. Depending on electrical load, a fully charged battery might last 30 minutes to an hour before voltage drops low enough to shut down critical systems. As voltage drops, the engine control unit begins losing its ability to manage fuel injection, ignition timing, and sensor data. The car may start running rough, stalling, or losing power steering. Headlights dim, the infotainment system shuts off, and eventually the engine dies completely. Many drivers see this light, assume the battery just needs a jump later, and continue their drive. That decision can leave them stranded on a highway at night with no headlights and no power steering. If this light turns on while driving, reduce electrical load immediately by turning off the air conditioning, the radio, heated seats, and any accessories that are not essential. Drive directly to the nearest safe location or repair shop. Do not assume the car will make it home. The charging system light is telling you the clock is ticking on every electrical system in the vehicle. Warning number 6, the ABS warning light. The light displays the letters ABS inside a circle, and when it turns on, it means the anti-lock braking system has detected a fault and shut itself off. This does not mean your brakes have stopped working entirely. The standard hydraulic braking system continues to function normally. What it means is that the anti-lock function, which prevents wheel lockup during hard braking on slippery or wet surfaces, is no longer available. Most drivers ignore this light because the brakes still feel normal during everyday driving. The problem reveals itself during an emergency. Without ABS, a hard brake application on wet pavement, gravel, or ice can lock the wheels instantly. Locked wheels lose all steering control. The car slides in whatever direction momentum carries it, regardless of where the steering wheel is pointed. ABS exists specifically to prevent that scenario by pulsing the brakes rapidly, keeping the wheels rotating just enough to maintain traction and directional control. The most common causes of an ABS warning on Toyotas are failed wheel speed sensors, small magnetic sensors mounted at each wheel hub, or a failing ABS control module. Wheel speed sensors are exposed to road debris, water, salt, and brake dust constantly, and over time their signals degrade or fail completely. Replacing a wheel speed sensor on most Toyotas costs far less than repairing the body damage or paying medical bills that can result from losing steering control during a panic stop. Toyota includes this light because ABS is not optional safety equipment. It is a critical system that changes the physics of how your car behaves in the exact moments where control matters most. Driving without it is not just risky. It is driving with a reduced safety margin that only becomes obvious when it is already too late. Warning number 7. The SRS Airbag Warning Light. The SRS warning light shows a seated figure with a circle in front of it, representing the airbag. If this light stays on after you start the car, the supplemental restraint system has detected a fault. The system includes the airbags throughout the cabin, the front passenger occupant classification sensor built into the passenger seat, and the seatbelt pretensioners that tighten the belts during a collision. When the SRS light is on, one or more of these components may not deploy in a crash. Toyota performs a self-check every time the vehicle starts. The light should illuminate briefly and then turn off within a few seconds. If it stays on, something in the system has failed. If the light never turns on at all during startup, that is equally dangerous because it means the self-check itself is not functioning. Common causes include a faulty clock spring in the steering column, which connects the driver's airbag to the electrical system, a sensor failure in the passenger seat, a disconnected wiring harness under a seat that was moved or removed, or a previous accident where an airbag deployed and the system was never properly reset. Many drivers see this light and assume it is a minor electrical glitch. They tell themselves the airbags will probably still work in a crash, and they keep driving for months or even years with the light on. That assumption can be fatal. When the supplemental restraint system detects a fault, it disables the affected components to prevent accidental deployment. That means the airbag is not just malfunctioning, it is intentionally shut off. In a frontal collision at even moderate speed, the difference between a functioning airbag and a disabled one can be the difference between walking away and not walking at all. Every warning light Toyota puts on the dashboard exists because engineers identified a specific failure that could be caught early enough to prevent serious damage, injury, or death. The color system is simple. Green means the system is active. Yellow means address it soon. Red means address it now. Ignoring these lights does not save money. It delays a small expense until it becomes a catastrophic one. A $150 sensor replacement becomes a $1,200 catalytic converter job. A $40 brake inspection becomes a $3,000 accident. A $200 alternator swap becomes a roadside breakdown at midnight. Toyota built these warnings to protect the car and the people inside it. The only thing they cannot protect against is a driver who refuses to pay attention. If you are enjoying this video, consider watching this one where I am sharing more secrets to outlast your Toyota engine.